What is up, everybody? How's it going? Austin prechtelevate Performance, coming at you live. Happy Wednesday. Happy winning Wednesday, everybody. Hope you are having a good day so far. Today, we are going to be talking about failure and why it is a part of the process, especially when it comes to a fitness journey, a weight loss journey. It is a necessary process, part of the process, and a lot of people, when they fail, they feel like they it's a bad thing, right? And so today we're going to be talking about, and I'm going to be encouraging you all to start to shift your perspective from seeing failure as a bad thing, and seeing it more so as a necessary part of the process, and maybe more of like a neutral thing. So that way you can make more progress long term, and you don't get stuck in your head and throw yourself off the wagon and off of your journey. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. As you're tuning in, let me know how your day is going. Let me know, today's Winning Wednesday, so feel free to share a win in the comments. And we're going to get this thing kicked off here in just a second. Give this video a like and let me know that you're here. Let me know how your day's going. So let's get ready to jump into this topic. So, failure, right? So, failure is something that inevitably is going to happen to all of us at some point or another because we are human, right? And we are not perfect. And we're definitely not going to be perfect in our fitness journeys. We're not going to be perfect in our weight loss journeys. We're not going to be perfect when it comes to our nutrition or our workouts or things like that. There's always going to be room for improvement, right? And a part of the process in life, in general, is failure, right? And I think failure is kind of like a funny word because it's something that indicates that something didn't go like according to plan, but in a sense, by failing, you're getting closer to the actual answer that you're looking for. As long as you don't quit, right? Failure does not mean quitting, right? Failure does not mean quitting. Quitting is quitting. Quitting is like, dusting your hands off and saying, I'm not doing this anymore, and then, giving up entirely. Failure is something that we, from a young age, I feel like a lot of us have been taught or trained or brought up or raised to think is being this bad thing. It's like maybe it's just a byproduct of going to going to school, right? And like you get A's, you're awesome. If you get B's, C's, D, like it just gets worse. And F is for failure, right? And so F's are bad. But in life, I really don't think F's are bad, right? I think F's for in regards to failure, I think are a necessary part of the process, because anyone who's going to be doing something that's extraordinary, or anyone who's going to be doing something that is above average or above and beyond, is going to have failure be a part of that process. That goes for your weight loss. That goes for your fitness. That goes for anything new that you're trying that you may have not have tried before. Or you may be, picking up again and giving it another go. And I want you guys to start to think about it this way because failure is actually a good thing. Oddly enough, failure is actually something that is a really good thing. And I will tell you, the more that you try to succeed, the more that you try to push your limits, the more that you try to really like strive towards above average or a higher level of like greatness in your own life and from yourself, the more you're gonna fail. The more you're gonna fail. I have honestly succeeded more in my life these last 2 years above and beyond anything that I could have ever expected. But guess what? A part of a lot of that success is a shit ton of failures. I fail in some capacity every day. Everybody does. But recognizing that those failures aren't a bad thing, right? And that they're just a part of the process can make them sting a lot less. And by having them sting a lot less and having them not, seep into your head and cause you to like self-sabotage a lot and things like that, you're going to make more progress a lot quicker because you're not going to get bogged down by that. Hello, how's it going? I see some people saying hey on Instagram. And so failure is a part of the process, okay? And this is something, if you take anything away from this live, I want it to be this. And so when I was in college, when I was in grad school, whenever, I was doing a lot of like research, reading a lot of research papers, doing research for experiments and things like that during my master's. One thing that really, really stuck to me, and it was from, oddly enough, a class that I'm not a big math person. I'm actually, I really don't enjoy mathematics or statistics, especially statistics. I really just don't like it that much. But it's a necessary thing to learn or at least understand at a base level if you want to do research, because you need to know how research is conducted properly. And I'm not going to bore you guys with too much, but one thing that really stuck out to me was that even getting a failure, right? Even getting a failure when you're testing a hypothesis, right? Or whenever you're testing like a question that you're wanting to ask, that you're trying to solve, right? You've got this scenario and you want to solve this question, right? Or this problem. And maybe right now in your life, this problem or this question is like, how do I lose weight sustainably? How do I have a successful fitness journey? How do I strength train? How do I eat right? Right? So let's just put this in perspective. Like for you, right? This is your hypothesis, or this is your question that you're trying to solve for yourself, right? You've got this puzzle, right? When you're testing something, when you have a failure, right, or failed experiment, or something goes wrong, or you get an answer that doesn't make sense, right? That's still good data, right? Even whenever you try something in your own fitness journey, when you try something in your own weight loss journey or in your nutrition or your strength journey, right? And it doesn't work, that's still good data to have, because you now know something doesn't work for you, right? And that's an important piece of the puzzle, regardless of how bad it stung figuring out that it didn't work for you or not, regardless of how how it may have affected you in your own journey. Yeah, it may have sucked that you learned that keto isn't for you and that it probably isn't for 99% of people out there, right? It probably sucked that you wasted that time and that energy and that mental bandwidth and time from your life on a fit tee or some random like booty band thing that you saw online, and you're like, oh, that person looks fit, that person looks in shape. They're selling me this stuff, and it ends up being like a snake oil kind of thing. You learn your lesson probably after that, right? And so a lot of times viewing failure as just life lessons that help you get to the actual solution. That's how we need to view these things, because failure isn't a bad thing. It is a part of life. And the more that you try to push yourself and push your limits and try to break past these like plateaus or reach a higher level of success than you have been in the past, you're going to fail. You will, and it's not a bad thing. It is honestly a good thing, and so something that and it's a part of the process, right? Sometimes when I fail, I still get like upset with myself, or I still get like annoyed that it didn't work out how I planned on it doing it, and it's like, oh, that's kind of unfortunate. But something that I've worked on, and I encourage you all to work on, is if you are failing or if you fail, shift your perspective to embrace it, to accept it, and just be like, you know what? Yeah, I failed. That kind of sucks that happened, but you know what? I'm one step closer to actually figuring out what's going to work for me and what's not going to work for me. It's a part of the puzzle, right? And that's how I want you guys to view failure in your journeys, because it's going to happen. Like, we all fail, and the more that you push yourself to reach higher highs, the more often you're gonna fail. I fail in some capacity every day. I've failed more in the last 2 years of my life than I have ever. But it's okay, because I've also succeeded more in my life in these last 2 years than I ever have, above and beyond. Like, and it's one of those things that's just a part of the process. It's failure and success are just two sides of the same coin in a sense. It's just one part is figuring out what's not going to work, and the other part's figuring out what is working, and it's okay. And just having more of like a neutral acceptance of failure and shifting your perspective to a more positive one surrounding the concept of failure is a good thing. It's not this bad thing that we've been taught that your past fail, and a lot of that too. It is a part of how we were raised and educated and things like that. Your parents. You come home with a report card. You have like an F or a D. Your parents would probably be pretty upset, right? And or your teachers or whatever, because we're graded on that stuff. But you're not graded on life, guys. You're not graded on your fitness journey, right? In a sense, like it's a journey, it's a long-term game, and start to shift your perspective from, your fitness journey isn't school. It's not. Yes, if you study and you do well and things like that, and you implement what you're supposed to be doing, yeah, you're gonna get to your goals quicker, right? But everybody's taking their own test. Everybody's taking their own test, and not everybody's test is the same, right? Not everybody's given the same test or the same notes, right? And so be nice to yourself, and just take on your fitness journey with and take away from this is that failure is okay. It is a part of the process, and oftentimes the more you fail, the sooner you're actually gonna to find something that actually works for you. So just keep trying, and don't be afraid of it. The more that you progress, the more that you're going to fail, but also the more that you're going to succeed. So just look forward to it and just accept it when it does happen, and just don't give up is the main thing. Is just keep showing up, just keep trying, and start and just keep trying to put it into a positive perspective for yourself, because that's going to take you far. It's going to take you very far. And honestly, like you know, I at this point in my life, I view failure as something that is more of a constructive thing. It's something to be learned from, because even a failure is still learning more about yourself. It's still learning more about what works for you and what doesn't. And sustainability at the end of the day is figuring out what works for you long term. And so I hope that this was helpful. I hope that this kind of like little mindset trick or whatever, in a sense, and just kind of like just explaining like, hey, like I fail too. Like I fail all the time. Like whether that be a failure in my own fitness journey, or a failure in my own like business journey, or a failure in parenting, or whatever maybe it happens, right? It's part of life. And just as long as you don't accept failure and give up or truly quit, you will reach your goals eventually. And one thing too, and that's why mentorship's super important too. And that's why, if you're trying to do a fitness journey and you haven't, and you're tired of failing, or you feel like you're lost and you don't know what that next step is to reach that next level of success, or to break past this next failure to get to that success. Mentorship's huge. And I can't vouch for that enough, just because like mentorship has made such an impact on in my life. It makes such an impact in my clients' lives, that if you want to break past a lot of those unnecessary failures that don't need to happen, that's where mentorship can kind of come in and act as a catalyst to get you to your goals quicker, because you've got other people that you can learn from their mistakes from, because they can teach you about what not to do and what to actually do. So if you're looking for that, feel free to reach out to me. We are currently taking on more clients for the month of January. So yeah, just send me a message if it's something that you're interested in. And just because I cannot, I can't vouch enough for the fact that, that's what coaching is. That's what teachers are to people. That's how we excel in life quicker. It's like, why reinvent the wheel, right? So other than that though, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Shameless little plug there. But other than that, let me know how your day is, or let me know your number one takeaway from this live. And just know, failure is okay. It's a piece of the puzzle, and you're putting your puzzle together right now, and one day you'll have a more complete picture that you can feel proud of and feel like you've succeeded at. So other than that, that's all I got for you guys today. Happy Winning Wednesday. And other than that, hashtag replay for watch this later time, and I will talk to you all later. Bye, guys.